All right. Okay, the first team, of course, is going to be represented by Yona in the top right corner of the map. It is Team 2legit2quit, which is an awesome team. Basically, a couple of people put together. I've got their names right here. There we go. It is, besides Yona, is also Agaham, J-Power, Harstem, and Harstem's brother, whose name is Slow Stupid. So these 5 players are actually a very legit team, so to say. Some of these players have joined other teams since they formed this little band of troopers. Yona, for example, has joined AT Gaming since the start of the tournament.
That's
and of
true.
course, if we're going to the bottom left corner of the map, we can see Elaser from Team AT Gaming, and that is actually Yona's new team. So Yona is now facing a current teammate of his in AT Gaming's Elaser.
Yep, that is quite true. Yona joining AT Gaming along with, I believe it was along with Agaham, leaving Team Lowland Lions, meaning they, I'm not sure who is actually still on Lowland Lions, but AT Gaming definitely boosting their StarCraft 2 ranks to face the ever-growing threat currently that is Esports Club Visualize, which is another team that is still in this team league and will be fighting for their spot. They have quite a few formidable players, one of them being Shaq. He may not be as well known with a lot of people, but he managed to make quite a name for himself at DreamHack, placing into the top 16, which is an exceptional performance. And so far has only been rivaled, I think, in terms of, well, for Dutchies as it goes, with Harstem, who managed to pretty much join Fnatic purely off of that performance. So definitely someone to look out for.
I think there was like a winner, DreamHack winner in 2011, right? Where Harstem basically did the same as Shaq did this year, where he just, or was it summer? I'm not sure with Harstem.
It was summer 2012.
Okay.
I remember being there and meeting you and
we were standing behind him as he won that game, which brought him into the round of 16. I remember that was great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So I was very sad that I wasn't there at DreamHack to see Shaq competing as well. Were you there at DreamHack?
No, I wasn't. DreamHack this year overlapped with AnimeCon, which is where the DSCL offline finals were held last year. So that overlapped, and I had to make a choice, and I made the decision that DreamHack is twice a year and AnimeCon is only once. And I really wanted to go to AnimeCon, so I went there.
Tough call, man.
Tough times indeed.
Tough times. Alright, but let's point our eyes towards the game at hand. We can see Yona going for an expansion first and then a pool. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, he went hatch first into a 14 pool, added on a quick extractor, and will now be collecting some gas to get presumably Zergling speed. There's nothing of the sorts coming out of Elaser, because Elaser went for an early spawning pool and already has 2 Zerglings out on the map. But his hatchery is slightly delayed compared to that of Yona, who's getting an earlier second queen out, a bit more creep spread, and is now, it looks like he's going to be in a bit of a defensive posture here, making a couple links and a queen. Wants to block these links from getting into his base, ideally. Oh, nice job there by him.
Very good. Of course, scouting is very important. You're not going to do a lot of damage with a Zergling like that, but getting to know what your opponent is doing inside his main base is very valuable information indeed.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Yona is already way past the 100 gas, currently up to 150, but still hasn't started circling speed, so that might be a mistake, or he's going to go for something else. But yet, nothing of the sorts of a bailing nest in sight. The links of Yona are now reaching the natural of Elaser and going to be trying to do exactly the same. They're going to head into the main and see what is up. No, they actually get, they almost get blocked, and there's queens in the way as well. But I think they're going to be able to reach the mineral line and see that there are no gases taken at all. Or not?
Or not?
No, he didn't see it.
Did he see it? We can check his vision.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't see anything.
So that's a bit of a slip up by Yona, who lost 4 Zerglings, I think almost for free. I think he killed another Zergling of Elaser, but yeah, he managed to miss that essential scouting. Of course, he did see the double gases being taken in the natural, so he knows that Elaser is mining gas at this point. But still, it's nice to have, you know, to be able to know that you are currently up in tech. You know, you were able to get that circling speed earlier than your opponent, and well, he is getting a circling speed and going straight directly into the +1 missile attack. So this looks like it will be a Roach timing coming off of Yona here, going for a quick lair so he can get the quick Roach upgrades, get the Roach speed mostly. And yeah, you can do a very nice Roach timing with this. And
so I was going to ask you about that. So Yona rushes, or goes to lair very quickly so that he unlocks a specific upgrade for his Roaches, which is Roach speed. so that his roaches will be much faster, of course, at a time at which his opponent will not be expecting such an upgrade.
Yeah, it's actually a very similar tactic by both players, but hold on, as I said, Elaser is now also getting his lair, but he's also building 16 Zerglings. Now, he is getting Zergling speed, finally, of course, as well, but the strategy that Yona here is going for seems to be focused more around pure Roach, whereas Elaser is building mostly Zerglings at this point and will probably transition into Roaches when he feels comfortable, but these masters of Zerglings, they can be effective as long as Yona doesn't have too many Roaches, but he's already kind of missing the timing window. Zergling speed is now finished and he's going to be making a dash towards the third of Yona, and I think he will be able to get a cancel on that.
So Yona's Roaches are running late. He's definitely going to get a cancel on this, yes.
Yeah, the Roaches aren't necessarily running late, it's just Yona has opted to go for Roaches rather than mass Zerglings. There's stuff happening everywhere, by the way. There's Overlords almost being picked off. But Yona, he does lose his third, whereas Elaser's third is almost halfway finished. And now we will see the transition into Roaches from Elaser. But the question is, was making this many links worth it? Because in a Roach versus Roach fight, Zerglings are perhaps not that valuable per resource.
Okay. Well, I think if it's this many Zerglings and they get a good surround, of course, they will definitely help. But let's see if Elaser gets out enough Roaches on time. Elaser pumping out 7 more right now, but I'm not sure what his current count is up to. Let's check this out. Currently, it's 23 Roaches for Yona versus only 4 of Elaser. So this is a very dangerous push from Yona.
This is very dangerous for Elaser. The Roaches are already into the natural mineral line, getting a very good position here against these Zerglings, trying to pick off as much as they can. The reinforcements from Elaser looks like they will clean this up, but the reinforcements from Yona, however, are also streaming across the map, and Yona having to micro quite a lot here. Gets a nice concave here on the Roaches of Elaser and taking a very good fight here.
Definitely. This is looking like a lot of trouble for Elaser, who's dropping in supply as well compared to Yona. Both reinforcing with Roaches, but they're reinforcing right around the same rate, which of course is an advantage for Elaser, whose reinforcements pop out right where he needs them. And Yona is actually pulling back, but he did a lot of... Actually, supplies have evened up.
Yeah, they're quite even because Yona ended up losing quite a few Roaches of his own. So the links of Elaser, they didn't deal necessarily all that much damage, but they were sufficient, you know. They provided a bit of a buffer for the Roaches to do damage to Yona's Roaches, because Roaches do more damage to Roaches than Zerglings do to Roaches. So the Zerglings are more of a bit of a buffer, and as well as the economic advantage, which is still a factor for Elaser being on 3 base against 2 base. You know, it plays a role.
It does, although Elaser was only at 38 drones, so it's not capable of saturating these 3 bases very efficiently.
Yeah.
But definitely, a third hatchery does help, of course.
Yeah, especially with the combined with ejects, he can refill the drone count quite heavily and quite quickly as well. And I don't think, let's check. Okay, so Yona has Roach speed, but his opponent does not yet. So he should be trying to dart around and maybe get a couple of kills. He did do that earlier, killed off a few drones at the third. But right now he seems to be more just fine with defending and trying to just play the macro game, because he does have a drone lead, like you mentioned.
Yep. Yeah, like you said. And of course, his third is also now operational. Let's see, both players working on creep spread, but it's not extremely creep spready so far. What are your thoughts on creep spreading in ZVZ?
Well, usually in ZVZ, creep spread benefits both you and your opponent. So you want to creep spread the necessary areas, which is between all your races, to connect them so you can reinforce quickly. I'm also very interested to see where these players' tech choices are going to go. Both are upgrading heavily into Roach tech. Elaser is finally getting his Roach speed, but both are getting +2, as well as finally Carapace. Yona is ahead, and he does have a timing in this area. His Roach count is almost insignificantly higher, but having a good upgrade advantage over your opponent in Roach versus Roach is really essential. And it seems like for the coming few minutes, this is going to be the determining factor in this fight, and we see the economic advantage of Yona already panning out as he is actually drawing ahead quite a bit in supply, and he's now marching across the map. But it will be spotted immediately by Elaser, who can set up a defense at one of the chokes if he wants to. Yeah,
let's see which choke he picks to defend. He does pick the right one. But this is a formidable push from Yona. Let's look at the Roach count again. It's 51 Roaches now against 42 Roaches of Elaser.
Yes.
As always, concaves and convexes are very important.
He should just fight here. He has the timing with his upgrades, He wants to sort of out-micro his opponent, it seems. But right now, especially with +2 being not in favor of him. And yeah, here we go. He goes into the middle line. He sets up the concave quite decently. Most of his roaches are fighting, and he hugs his opponent's roaches quite heavily. And we can just see that on one flank, Jona's winning, but he's not so much in the other, so he pulls back quite a bit, and he gets a good fight. Of the supplies are usually in favor of Jona here. So reinforcements streaming in, and that is it. Actually, Elaser GG's.
And we get at the very second that the GG came out, Elaser's +2 upgrade came out.
Yeah.
So that was a very good timing from Jona.
It was a razor thin timing here from Jona. He had, I'd say, a window of about, well, let's be honest here, 30 seconds maybe, something along those lines. So yeah, good, well played there by Jona to identify, you know, the actual timing that he had there, because that is so essential when you're playing CVC at a high level and you're both going for, you know, the same strat. You want to, at least in one way, have an advantage over your opponent. And the best way to do that is to simply recognize your opponent's timing or his failure to meet your timings and be able to counter your upgrades.